Hi guys, it's Samar with Blissful Events. I am so glad you're here today. You are in for a huge treat. As you know, I'm the owner of Blissful Events, and I'm a wedding planner, venue consultant, and mindset coach. And during this pandemic, I've been just talking to a lot of really amazing vendors and kind of how they're navigating what they're doing in this time of, just change and uncertainty, and especially in the events industry. So today I have one of my favorite caterers, Bruce here. He's the owner of Park Avenue Catering, and I've been working with you guys for years, and I'm just so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad we were able to connect. So hi Bruce, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Samar.
Nice.
Thanks for having me on. This
Yeah,
is good.
I'm so glad you're here.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you. It feels funny to see people, I feel like, outside of on Zoom now. I feel like I used to be able to give people hugs, and now I'm like, oh, hello. Yeah. So the reason I'm so excited that you're here in general, but I really want to know, I know you guys are doing things a little bit differently than other people are doing, and I just got really excited earlier this week when I had another chat with you guys, and just learned a little bit about how you guys are running your business right now. So can you tell me a little bit about how this pandemic has kind of shifted what you're doing in the events industry?
Sure. Well, it's been an interesting, I don't know, how long has it been now? 2 months or a month and a half or something like that. We started looking at this and realizing that we're starting to lose a month at a time of business. And, we had to lay off a lot of our employees, or furlough, or cut people to half hours. And we started talking about the idea, what are we going to do? What do we do? Because we have this great machine here. We can produce beautiful food, but we can also produce a lot of really good, healthy food. And so we started with our first concept. Actually, we called it Let's Go Bowling, with the little hyphen between the bowl and the ing. And what the idea was is that, especially at that point in time, we were realizing that hospital workers, essential business employees were going to be working in kind of rough situations. And we wanted to give people an opportunity, the companies and others, an opportunity to say thank you, and offer bowls, like luncheon bowls, like a poke bowl, or a grilled chicken, or a bento bowl, or something of that nature. Nice compostable bowl. It gets delivered on site. They get a thank you, and they get to eat a nice meal. And that then led us to our next one, which was the idea of getting involved with feeding anyone from first responders to other people who needed meals. And so we created a second meal program, and got in touch with a lot of the corporations and companies in the area and said, listen, $10 meals, $1,000 buys you 100 meals, and you tell us who you want to feed. And so all of a sudden, we were getting the opportunity to send meals to Petaluma Valley Hospital, to Corazon in Healdsburg, who feeds the, they were helping to feed some of the farm workers up there. So all of these different opportunities came up. Sloan House, Women's Recovery Center, different places where companies said, listen, we will donate X amount of money. We'd like these meals sent there, or to this fire station, or wherever. And while this was going on, I was then kind of communicating to everyone in the community that I knew, supervisors, city council members, people like that, people at the nonprofits themselves, saying, listen, we can produce a ton of meals. We can produce 5,000 plus meals a week. All we need is to know where they go. And obviously, we can't do it for free, but we can work with your budget. And so after a little bit of time, that developed into something really nice. So we're working with Catholic Charities, and we're sending food to there's a new homeless facility that they put in, a shelter at the Finley Center Community Center in Santa Rosa. And so we're feeding right now 50 people a day, 7 days a week, 3 meals. That'll probably go up to 70 to 100 soon enough. Plus, we're working with an organization called the Series Community Project, with specific medically designed meals that have to pass through and by a nutritionist. So we get their recipes, we create their food using, essentially using organic ingredients and just making sure it's clean, it's done exactly the way they want it. And that's another 3,000 meals a week. And so at least for the next month, we've been able to bring our team back and do that. And so it keeps the team intact, and it keeps us doing really good things for the community, which feels really good because we've always done things for the community in the past. It's just in a different way.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we've been doing. But at the same time, we have a Zoom meeting actually with my sales team every Tuesday to brainstorm about ideas. And I'm sure you've probably been on the phone with Justine or whomever talking about some of the ideas to come up with that will work as soon as we're able to kind of somehow come out of the shelter in place, and just to create ways of making people feel comfortable. So we're kind of keeping our eye on what we love, and then we're doing something that's really benefiting the community and feeling good about it.
I love that. I absolutely love that. You guys, I've been working with you guys for so many years, and what's so great about you guys, multiple things, but one of my favorite things about you guys is you can truly sense that you are community oriented, and however that looks, you've been able to really create something out of that, no matter what kind of time you're in. And that's the most beautiful thing. I mean, right now, true entrepreneurship, I feel like, are people who are innovating right now during this time. We have a responsibility to continue to create jobs as entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. We're not supposed to be sitting around and kind of, well, when things get back to normal, we'll see what happens. But until then, I'm gonna just sit around. That's not what we were born to do. So people like you and me have to do this kind of thing. And I just respect so much that you are taking on these conversations with your sales team, and you guys have been just so open to suggestions. And I know I've had conversations with people from your team this past week about different things, and it's just been really amazing, even just to learn a little bit about how you guys are maneuvering weddings around, so and events around that are large gatherings. So can you talk to me a little bit about that and kind of how you guys are handling that right now?
Well, it's evolved over time. We're working pretty much with kind of a 10 to 12 week rolling window, whereas you really don't know what's going to be out there in 3 or 4 or 5 months. But you can kind of know that, and from your end of the game, very well that there's a certain amount of planning time that has to be there. So, if somebody's within 8 to 10 weeks of their wedding, then if they can't see the definite yes, then it's time to postpone and move them. And we work with our planners, we work with our venue partners, and we kind of try to have a cohesive plan going with them. A lot of our clients who were booked for, say, May, June, and now pretty much most of July, have mostly moved to the end of this year. Some have moved to next year, and as they get within that window, we can help them. We find dates that were available in 2021. But we're trying to encourage people to really kind of look at it and see if you're able to move it later this year and you can work with that. It would be great. It's hard to know. But as we get closer to the end of the year, then you're at the point where you have to start to say, okay, it's 2021. Let's just move, find a date, find something that works, and move there. So that's pretty much what we've been doing. We've been working with each client individually, and then talking to the planner, talking to the venue that they booked, and then figuring out as a team what we can do for them.
Absolutely. That makes so much sense. I mean, that's kind of similar to the way that I've kind of been moving things around as well. It's seeing, every situation is a little different. There are couples that are coming in from overseas. Probably makes a lot more sense to move to next year. Couples that maybe live locally, maybe we can wait a little bit longer and kind of see where things go. So I love the flexibility that's taking place in our community and in our industry as a whole right now. I feel like people are just being so gracious and so flexible. And one of the things that I love about you guys too is the response time. And I always feel like the response time is quicker than I'm like, okay, I'm going to send this email and, I'll get my client an answer back in a few hours, hopefully. And it's never that. It's even quicker than just a few hours. And even though I know you guys have had to have some furloughs and things like that going on right now, you're still so great about getting back to people so quickly. And that's just been so wonderful. And I know I've been experiencing a lot of that in our industry as a whole. And I'm just so grateful for that as a planner, because we have so many pieces that we have to connect the dots to. So I do appreciate that. So one of the things for the service in general, is there anything that has shifted for you guys? Have you needed to create new procedures around what it looks like to have service during a pandemic, and what does it look like when you are holding these events and social distancing and different things like that? Are you guys kind of coming up with new procedures, and what's that looking like for you?
Well, the interesting thing is the simple part of the procedures we've had to develop, because my kitchen team has been working continuously. So, we have a whole procedure here in our kitchen. The doors are all locked. No one's allowed into the building without permission. And actually, even employees who have a key are not allowed in. We have a safety officer who will ask you, questions. We'll take your temperature. We have one of those temporal thermometers. So they'll take your temperature. He'll ask you, if you're feeling sick, if you have a cough, if anybody in your family has, been diagnosed with COVID, et cetera. And then we have a clipboard which lists all of that stuff. And then everybody who walks in the doors has a mask on. First thing they do is they go to the bathroom and they wash their hands before they clock in and do anything else. And then we have all of our safety procedures for cleanup here as well, including literally every touch surface and doorknob is sprayed with a bleach solution and wiped down after allowing it to set on it for a little bit, at the beginning of the day and then at the end of the day. So that kind of started us into the whole idea of what does it take. Now we're also making deliveries at this point, with the food that we're picking up. And so we have safety procedures from that end that will eventually, again, help inform us on the other end of it. So first thing that the employee does when they come, if they're taking one of our vans or vehicles, is they sterilize all the touch surfaces they're going to touch with a mask on and with gloves. And then when they get to site, they open the back door, they remove those gloves, put clean gloves on before they handle the food boxes that they're going to give to the client they're delivering to. So I guess that's maybe the start of the idea and the procedures of what we're going to be going with. So, it's really in the starting stages, because we have not yet catered a service event. We've only delivered food to this point. But, we're going to assume that what we're required to do will be similar to what they will do in dine-in restaurants. And so that is gloves, masks, the idea of what we call contactless dining, where whether the food is boxed or whether the food is on plates with plate covers or whatever we're going to do as a way of providing the food, it can be set at the table al fresco before the guests sit. They sit down, maybe there's a bottle of wine, whatever else on the table, and then they go on. So there are ideas like that. We're talking about totes, insulated tote bags, which we've already kind of sourced some nice looking things. Different ways to box food or to provide the guests with food. But the key part for me is thinking through the guest experience. The easy part is to say, I know how to do this safely, but, we're starting the process of kind of walking, just like when you sit with a client, you walk through their event with them, literally from the time they park the car to the time they leave. The idea is to think of it through that way, and then come up with what would a guest want to feel like? And then how do we incorporate the service to create that? You know what I mean? To give them the feeling of safety and that everything is produced in a healthy way and that we're really being careful with everything. and at the same time providing them with the experience that they're coming for, which is, it is still a gathering, even if there's social distancing outside of your own little bubble, your bubble of however many people. So we don't know exactly how it's going to look. And in some respects, my hope is that by the time we hit 2021, we won't have to worry that much about it. So, we want to get so far enough into it so that a client knows if this is what it comes to, we have a good idea on how to do this right. But at the same time, I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I love everything about that. I mean, the thing is that safety isn't the issue that we have, right? It is about continuing to create that experience for the client and the guests.
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea that most of us are more concerned with, because safety has been around. I mean, food safety has always been around, and it's just extra precautions that are being taken right now. And the social distancing and the spacing and all of that. Do you see, just taking it kind of one step at a time let's say with cocktail hour, do you see that kind of being something where is still doable as far as giving the client a good experience? I mean, there are things floating around about doing shifts where, people are coming in small groups into cocktail area and that kind of thing, and kind of sticking with their group as they move along during the day, or dancing in a little cluster, in their group, and the table that they're going to be sitting with and all that. Do you see that kind of, in your opinion? Do you feel like that would be something that is going to kind of work and continue to be that, continue to I'm sure everything will continue to evolve, but do you feel like that will be something that will work on an event day?
I do. I think you can give people their own little hors d'oeuvre box, so that they have what they need. They can pick up a box and they've got that. And it's a funny thing, but I'm sure you've seen passing by and seeing people on their lawns or somewhere socially distancing but talking. So I think that the number of people in a space depends on the size of the space and whether it's indoors or outdoors. We can provide the food experience easily enough, and to be able to get a glass of wine or whatever, or a cocktail, not a problem. Those things are easily worked out. Cocktails in little mason jars, pre-done, chilled, ready to go. People grab their own, open it up. That's easy stuff. And I think that people are learning how to socialize and socially distance. And if this goes on for a while, or if it fades and then comes back, I think that we will all be better at it. You know what I mean? So if we can give them the food and the drink and the space and the room to be able to socially distance, I can talk to you from 6 feet away, and it's not like I have to be 6 feet away from everybody, because if I come with a group of 4 or 6 people, we're together. That's okay. And that's kind of the way it's looking. So I definitely see the possibilities of that. I think that it would be more challenging the larger the group, but again, it depends on the space. It depends on how you create interim seating, or what you create to break up the space. And I'm not sure where to go with that yet, but in some ways that's almost more your area of expertise to consider and think about than ours. But we all have to go back and forth in the way of thinking. But yeah, I can definitely see it happening, and I can picture myself at a party and in an environment and feeling good about it.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. I think that there are ways around this, and there are ways to make this absolutely still be an amazing event. And I'm really excited, I think, about all of the kind of the creations that we're all coming up with collectively, and how all of this is kind of coming together. And it just seems like every day there's a new idea, and someone comes up with something different. And what's really great is we're able to kind of follow along what these kind of bigger corporations are doing, like hotels or airlines, or that kind of thing, and sanitization process, and that kind of thing. And we're able to really learn from them and be able to develop something that works for us. And I'm really loving all of the innovation that's coming along with all of this. And I'm excited to to see kind of what new stuff comes out, what new innovations come out of all of this after we're all done here. So I just want to say thank you so much, Bruce. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for sharing and for spending time with us. And it's always such a pleasure to chat with you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Samar. Great to see you. Thank you for inviting me on. This was fun.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure.
I will see you again sometime soon. Okay?
That sounds great.